Facebook. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday with Georgia Christian Business Network. Our vision is to put God back in business. We are so excited today for a couple of reasons. But number one, that we get the privilege to share Wednesday after Wednesday with you on some dynamic topic to help you grow in your faith, in what God has called you to do. And so this week is no different, except that we have a dynamic guest host that is joining us today, Dr. Karen Bourg. We are so excited. She's a GCBN corporate sponsor, just like Pamela and Rich. And we are so privileged to have you on our platform for this entire month, Dr. Karen. And we'll give you an opportunity, as we do all of our hosts, to introduce yourself. As Rich will do today, I will go ahead and mention that Pamela still has not had an opportunity to rejoin us after her surgery, but she's with us in spirit and she's all in the business. Just know that. But y'all continue to send up prayers for her. Today's topic, and for the entire month of
February.
Okay, for the entire month of February is going to be confidence. I said, not because I missed, but I needed to shut down something on my phone. Did I
you were not
out?
so confident in our topic.
No.
We'll work on her through the month. We'll get her better.
No. Something flashed across my screen and I went, you guys went bye-bye, but I'm back now. And I guess I never left from your perspective. I don't know.
We saw you.
Okay, good. Okay.
Just a surprise on your face.
Good deal. Okay, yeah. Okay, like what was that? Okay. But at any rate, we're talking about confidence this month. And so after Karen and Rich introduced themselves, and Karen, we're going to let you go first because I believe Rich is going to intro for today. Tell us about what we're going to talk about, how we're doing this deep dive on confidence. And then we're just going to roll like we normally roll. So welcome, Dr. Karen, and hello, Rich.
So intro, one, I just absolutely love Beth Copeland and everything about DCBN except the orange. I've never known anyone who loved orange as much as this woman does.
You don't like my orange? Okay.
I'm going to send you orange
just for that. Just for that, I'm sending you orange. I think anybody and everybody should have a piece of orange somewhere in your wardrobe.
Well, and all the pieces of orange that I have are GCBN things, like shirts and that sort of thing. So thank you very much for introducing me to orange. I, like Rich and Pamela, am a professional counselor and opened my private practice years ago and immediately thought, I have no earthly idea what to do and how to do it. No one teaches you that in school, and fell in love with business and ministry, entrepreneurial endeavors, which led me to eventually, short story, become the president of the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. So that's kind of where I live right now. And our theme of the year is confidence, which is why Beth and I kind of perked up like, oh, let's do something together. I'm thrilled to be here all month long. Imagine that. And what a treat for me. I have listened in Zoom and on the Facebook live stream to things that y'all do and thrilled with it. So grateful to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I love me some Karen Bourg, so y'all just know that. I just wanted to put that in there.
Even though she doesn't wear orange.
Right.
Hey, we're gonna work she got the memo for blue today.
I see. I saw that. I wasn't gonna say, but there you go. I missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't send those out with the notes that today was Blue Day. Right? I'm gonna be blue with confidence. Yeah, but my name is Rich Oswald, as Beth said, and I run a practice called Legacy Counseling Center over on the east side of the metro of Atlanta, in a little town called Snellville that is getting populated more and more. I work with individuals, couples, families, dealing with small issues that relatively are still sabotaging some of the things they want to do with their life, or deeper trauma things that are really lifelong things that are really messing with them, and they've never really been able to get past. And like that modern definition of insanity, we keep doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for different results. We can't ever seem to figure out what exactly that is that's keeping us stuck. And I have degrees in mechanical engineering, did that for a little while. I've done construction for several decades, and auto mechanics. I've been married for since 1998, 23 years, 4 daughters. Oldest is in college, able to drink alcohol now if she wants to, which she tried hard cider. Okay. She's not out partying at the frats. We're good. She's a great kid. We love her a lot.
Yeah, awesome.
But that's it. And so confidence is where we're going this month. It's kind of cool. We got GC Band Conference. We got National Organization of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. Yes, that's a lot of words to try to remember to put together, and I'm not going to put the acronym in. That's just going to go way over top of my pay grade. Good. What is confidence, and why is it important? Sometimes I think we get a little distorted in what confidence may mean, or what we're supposed to have confidence in. So we may battle on what exactly does that look like. But confidence is a good thing. And just pull up the definition of that to kind of get us started, because like Pamela often does, the definition is a good place to go to see what the actual meaning of the word is supposed to be, because there's the connotation and denotation, right? There's the dictionary definition, the denotation, and the connotation in the context of where it's used, which often, or I should say at times, don't line up. But dictionary definition: full trust or belief in powers, trustworthiness, or reliability of a person or thing. So that's from dictionary.com. It's pretty much guaranteeing or full trust that something is going to happen. It's not a would be, could be, hopefully, but it is a going to happen thing. So we're basing confidence on a guarantee. And sometimes we want to have confidence in things that aren't guaranteed. So I think that can be definitely a challenge, to have confidence in something we're not sure is actually going to come to fruition. So I think it's important to note the difference between that. Since both of your ladies are focusing on confidence in your organizations as well, what are some of your thoughts on what is confidence?
Whoa, I am so excited. I'm going to give Dr. Karen an opportunity to respond to that, but I am fighting technology challenges like crazy. We're being spammed all over the place. So I'm trying to weed out. If you are, and I need to make this an announcement, if you are a guest for the show, a legitimate guest, not trying to flash our screen with something, what I'd like to ask you to do is to send me a message. You can send me a message from the waiting room to identify yourself, because I've got some weird names coming across that or I've got 16 people waiting for the to enter, and the names are different things that I won't even mention. Okay, which is a little bit leading to let me know what we're dealing with.
That's
so Dr.
good.
Karen, respond to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that when Rich sent us notes, they started with the definitions, because when I began our whole year, I think it's going to take us more than a year to talk about confidence in life through trials and as business and ministry owners. I didn't even look at the definition in the dictionary. I just went straight and said, what does the Bible say about, confidence? What does God say about confidence? So I was kind of shocked when we were reading through definitions, how focused it was on us, right? How we feel and what we believe and what we trust in. And but I needed that. I kind of needed to be reminded that it's a feeling, it's a belief, it's in me, in my ability to do what God has called me to do, but also in someone else or something. I believe this chair is I have confidence that this chair is even going to hold me up, right? And I also was just reminded at how connected it is to our faith and our walk and the steps that we take on a day-to-day basis. I was just fascinated by the definition. I was kind of intrigued also at how the dictionaries kind of kept describing it as a feeling. And I thought, well, I don't want to base, as counselors, we're constantly telling our clients, well, you're not going to base every decision that you make, heaven forbid, on a feeling or on an emotion. It needs to be based on truth and fact. But I was intrigued by how often it said it was a feeling. I have a feeling of confidence. Anxious to see kind of where that takes us.
Yes, it's definitely important to distinguish. And I think you made a great point, Dr. Karen, about confidence in ourselves, but more because of how God made us, not because of just what we feel about ourselves. It is the truth about who we are, whether it's our value. We have confidence to know we're valuable because we were bestowed value from God. But you mentioned that confidence in our abilities, right? That they're God-given. The more we search out and know who we are, the more we're comfortable and familiar of how God made us. We're not trying to be something else or somebody else, right? We're trying to drum up confidence that in something we don't really even have, but recognizing being confident in our skill set because it's God wired in us, which is phenomenal. And as a counselor, that's one of the main focuses. You get people who are lost and trying to have confidence in one thing, but it's really not an accurate description of whatever it is, especially themselves. Well, I'm good at this. Well, or I'm bad at this. Either way, right? You're not really confident in something that's true, or you're trying to be confident in something that's not true. Right? I think I said that correctly. Not confident something is true and confident something that's not true. So you're really just sort of trying to pump yourself up rather than founding it on something that's guaranteed. So awesome point. Beth is not visible, but we're now
here. I can hear you.
All right.
Well, I was gonna help.
Go ahead, Karen.
I was gonna help us watch the live stream too, but I don't see it. I don't see us on there, Beth. So I don't know.
You're not watching the live.
I was going to, but I'm not seeing it. But I might be in the wrong place. I'll look.
Okay. I cannot believe the attack. We're live. You need to go to.
Okay, good.
We're live. I see that, but the attack, and then my son, I'm communicating. We're not going to go into all this, but
so
but my son let me know that we have been hacked. Because it's under his account. So go ahead and keep talking. I'm good.
You said, and I hope you'll go a little deeper into this. I just caught it just as you. I mean, you said that it is God wired in us.
For sure.
I can't wait to hear more about that. Because I think that doesn't necessarily come naturally. I mean, how many times have I sabotaged that wiring? For
sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. An interesting thought I've kind of grabbed onto and looking at the way we're wired when we deal with people or working with people or even looking at ourselves, right? How we're truly wired. Sometimes we look at our dysfunctional thoughts or behaviors. If I step back, because I'm going to put my engineering hat on a little bit too, there's, well, what are you living out of that causes that dysfunctional thing? I think we're still living out of our natural wiring. We're just distorting the use of it as a coping mechanism or as a survival response, which I like to call coping mechanisms more like survival sometimes as we deal with trauma situations. We won't go too far down this road, but we're looking to survive the trauma. And rather than trying to generate a behavior or skill set we don't have, we actually just take something that's God-given and use it for whatever we need to do in the time. And it may be dysfunctional, right? Like I learned to lie. Well, it's not because I'm great at lying. I'm really good at creative. I'm a really creative person. I'm a really good communicator, right? I can get principles and like concepts across to somebody. Just in this environment, I'm using it to lie, right? So it's not getting rid of the lying completely, throwing it out. It's kind of getting an accurate view that you're actually a creative communicator, right? As in just an off the top of my head example too. And if that,
Yeah.
thoughts on that, Karen?
Yeah, because in the same way that you said, I learned to lie. I mean, we learn these distortions. They're not God-given, but I also think it's just a reminder of how purposeful and intentional we have to be to learn the truth, so that the lie isn't all pervasive in our life and in our work. And we're going to talk about that more, as the weeks go on as well. But wow, I mean, I didn't know we were going to go in that direction, but to me, those are powerful places to be. I've got to be intentional about knowing who God is and who I am in Christ, and what He's called me to do His way before confident, and learn confidence. It's not necessarily going to just osmosis,
Right.
seep into me.
Correct. And we've been given distortions sometimes of what or who we really are and what gifts we really have. I mean, so then we're not going to be able to definitely, it's going to be challenging to have confidence, right, in who God really made us to be if the message we've gotten around who we really are is not good or not right or not welcomed. I mean, so now we try to throw that out and drum up confidence in something that's really not accurate about ourselves or about the world. I mean, that's a distortion, and it's important, like you said, to have confidence in the truth. Otherwise, we're never really going to feel confident, because we're not assured that that's whatever it is we're holding on to, believing, living out of, moving towards. It's not really assured that it's going to happen. So it's more of a wishful thinking than it is a confidence something is true, right? And we can't necessarily have, and this thinking of, it's important to know what to have confidence in, right? That to me is
where
critical.
That is where I want to chime in. Perfect timing to return. How about that? Yeah, I'm back. Okay. So here we go. I love the discussion. I've been listening. The opportunity for the strength of confidence is based on the reliability of what you're trusting in. And when you said that, because that's what was coming forth for me, is your confidence is going to be secured by whatever it is you're trusting in. I love what Gladys Aguirre was on our show yesterday for Take Charge Tuesday. And so the opportunity was for her is to talk about elevation, as we have been and we will throughout this entire year. And we're elevating, and we're determined that anyone wants to travel with us, come on. But she kind of spoke about self-esteem. And so we'll get to Godfidence, something that I want to introduce the last week of this month. But to say the minimum here and to keep in line with Rich's last comment about what do you have confidence in, is she did use her hand like here. If my self-esteem and my confidence is in my ability and who I am, and I'm here, and I figure I can get, maybe I'm here with my right hand left on the screen, and then I feel like I have this little area that I can measure up to, but I can't go any further than that. Okay. And so the opportunity is, what are you trusting in? And we put confidence in a lot of things, do we not? Like, for instance, let's say driving. We have confidence in those that or other drivers, that they're going to respect the law of the land, related to vehicles and such. And they're going to respect the stop signs and the trust. And so our confidence, and I wanted to bring out something light like that, so then you can take it back as we define confidence. Start asking yourself questions about, what am I confident in? Who am I confident in? And if that even is yourself, we don't even want to, we want to get you to understand what is driving your idea of confidence. Does that make sense? to say that. We'll progress down the road, but we want you to understand the value of having this discussion. And I know Karen at NACWE, at National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, which we love, that organization is doing great things, but you have dedicated, and that was one of the drivers for me inviting you to be on this platform with us this month, is you're dedicated the entire year to confidence, to discuss, to unpack, unfold, go deep dive into why this is so critical for the life of business women and men everywhere. And it's a great opportunity for a life skill, Rich, right? Yeah. For sure. And one thing while I'm talking, and you missed me for a minute, so I'm catching up. The opportunity I'm serious about it. Every day I get a little more serious about our focus on Elevation 2022. And so last month in January, we introduced where we're going on the Take Charge Tuesday. So the opportunity is this. We introduced Elevation, then we came behind and talked about Hope on Wellness Wednesday. What we're doing is we're structuring the opportunities on Take Charge Tuesday to make certain that we're giving you tools and resources to help you to be able to experience Elevation 2022. But we're coming right behind that on the Wellness Wednesday platforms, understanding the realities of life. Can I say it like that? And that there will be attacks against those opportunities as you begin to soar. And so, like I said, we talked on hope. And I loved that. It was just outstanding. I mean, it was just really, really good. I even had to close out the month by myself. That was interesting, but it was good. It was good.
Sorry about that. COVID.
No, COVID, what did I say? If God said go, COVID can't say no. So although you were out, he didn't give me a pass to get by. I had to do what I had to do. But the thing that I'm getting to is this month, as we build momentum and moving and soaring higher in elevation, there's still attacks, and it starts to attack on your confidence, because what it feels like, okay, January is a whole month gone. So there's rhyme or reason to this, is what I'm saying. And then maybe I haven't experienced elevation in some regard, or I don't even recognize that I have really, but I'm beating myself up. And so it's what you understand about confidence that's going to undergird, is that okay? Or support, how your plight for elevation.
So I think you both hit on a really crucial, at least, I mean, maybe for the whole month, but at least for this week.
Okay.
So second, Beth, when came in, you said something and it made me, first of all, while Rich was talking and you were cleaning house, I had flashbacks, right, constantly of times that I might have had a distorted confidence for whatever reason. And Rich kind of gave some of those reasons, and we'll talk about those in the rest of the month as well. But I also kept thinking, well, wait a minute, there were times when I exuded confidence, when I normally wouldn't have, call it supernatural or whatever. And then you came in, Beth, and you said something about being very intentional and purposeful about the truth of confidence. And I love that quote. The opportunity for the strength of confidence is based on the reliability of what you're putting your trust in, right? But
whose quote is that?
I don't know. You said it. You were talking about
what I said earlier. I'm sorry. I thought you said you love this quote. Okay, so
no, I don't know if it's yours or if it belongs to the woman you were introducing us to and talking about from.
No, I just spoke it, but when you said quote, you threw me.
You're one of the most quotable people I'm always taking. But before you even popped back in, Rich was saying that you sometimes have a I'm going to say, I don't know what the terminology would be, but a misconfidence, right? A wrong confidence because of some sort of distortion. And I think it's really important as we talk about confidence for 4 weeks, or for us for about 15 months, to go there. And I'm going to take our people there, to go there, to ask the people in the audience, would you take some time and think of a distorted confidence, a lie that you've believed. I have an example if you want. I always have examples. But also, and then to think of times that God has given you badly needed confidence and kind of bank on that confidence. So for example, if you'll indulge me, first thing that flew through my mind when you were talking about distorted confidence was, of course, as you've heard me say, we've got the confidence has to be based and founded on the Lord. But I remember as a child, the words spoken over me. My parents loved me. They were great parents, but they didn't know how to speak words of affirmation, really. None of us did. I still don't. And I remember hearing, Karen is not strong, right? Karen goes to bed. If it's 9 o'clock, it's the bewitching hour for Karen. She lays her head down. She falls asleep. She's on her pillow. She can't stay up past 9 p.m. Karen is not strong. And then even as I was getting ready to be married and my husband to be asked my father for his hand in marriage or whatever, my father said yes. And then he called me out on the porch, sent Tim away and called me out on the porch and said to me, sis, this man is called to be a foreign missionary. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I am too, right? And he said, I don't think you're strong enough to endure a foreign mission field, to stand up under the rigors of a foreign mission field.
Wow.
Luckily, the Lord kind of gave me some words to say. And basically I said, Daddy, if that's what God's called us both to do, he'll just have to give us the strength to do what we need to do. But even now, at the conference, we talked about this, Beth, I don't know if you remember, but even now, I hear that I'm not strong. I'm not strong. I'm not strong. And yet there have been so many times in traumas of our lives that my family has turned to me for strength. I am strong. God never says that I'm not strong, right? So I think we have to take purposefully, intentionally, it's not a passive process, right? It is an active process. We have to identify some of those, what you call distortions, love that, and beat them off with the truth.
Yep.
Okay. I am loving this. This is so awesome because Karen, that experience, everything that we go through in life has purpose. And we just have to believe that and know that God doesn't just allow us. That may have been painful, I'm sure. I love your comeback to your father, that you were strengthened enough to be able to tell him and to say that if God's called us to it, and this is me, he's going to take us through it. He's going to be there supporting us. So that number one. And then the next thing I'll say is the lead in. And I quoted this scripture yesterday with Gladys, because see, the thing that we have to understand, and I believe it's 2 Corinthians 10th chapter, and I shared it with everyone yesterday, because if we understood about our thoughts, she really talked more about thoughts that we think in our mindset, rather yours position it from a thought or something that was spoken over you. And Rich, we've talked about this a lot on the platform, how over our span of life, derogatory, and not to say that your father meant it in that manner,
right?
But our inner spirit takes a hit when that stuff comes, and especially when a person of authority has suggested it for our lives. Would you agree with that? And so the opportunity is, and we'll get more to this again, and I don't want to bring it, I got confidence all in my head, y'all. So I'm trying to be careful and not jumping ahead here. But is to marry it to what God says. And the scripture that I'm talking about is we're going through life. And what we have to understand in 2 Corinthians 10:3, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty in God to pulling down strongholds, holds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. But I love this part that, I mean, people quote that, I can quote it left and right, but there's another piece to that, and that follows, when it says, and bringing into captivity every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. But the piece that I want to do, and having a readiness to revenge all disobedience when our obedience is fulfilled. And my interpretation of that is that we have to know the truth. We have to know the word of God. And so that when we hear something contrary to that being spoken against us or to us or towards us, then we have to refute that thing with the truth of what God's word says about us. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are his works. And my soul has to know that right well. Psalms 139. We may not know chapter and verse, but listen, start with what you know. You know the scripture, speak it over yourself. And I love what you guys have said about affirmations.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that kind of read a few of the thoughts I had on this. Just a quote from an article in Psychology Today is, confidence is a belief in oneself, the conviction that one has the ability to meet life's challenges and to succeed, and the willingness to act accordingly. Right? Being confident requires a realistic sense of one's capabilities and feeling secure in that knowledge. Right? And then, Beth, you hinted at you said your scripture passages, you were talking about that. One that came to mind, and I have actually pulled it out for the notes too, is Philippians 1:6. In the New International Version, it says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ. So it's that God allows stuff, but he can use it for our good, right? Being confident that he who began a work will carry it on. And in New Living Translation, it says, I am certain that God who began the good work within you will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ returns. I mean, so you're looking at what the confidence is, and that even this confidence that I'm in process and God is continuing to work. And we're talking about those challenging things. And Karen, you shared your story. Thank you for that vulnerability and working on that through your life to say, wait, that thing you heard as a little girl, you're not strong. You heard it blatantly from your dad towards being a missionary, but you countered that with truth that God is working in you, and that
I love
work
it
to make you strong and counter that lie is what you said. Like, hey, Dad, if God called me there, then I'm going to have what I need. And I'm confident that God is doing that work in me. That is so cool to hear that story, knowing that even still you're working through it. God hasn't finished that work. There's still those twings and pings and other things that can have you question your strength. But then you mentioned it too, kind of transitioning. We're in this, what is confidence and why is it important? Kind of thinking of the why it's important. For you in that particular season of your life where you're going to be a missionary, why was it important to have that confidence that God was at work in you? Right? You were probably going to not do that thing that God was directing you to do, to go be on the mission field, if you didn't have that confidence that God's working on you. So that was important, because if it wasn't there, it would have sort of sabotaged part of your life story, and you wouldn't have the experience of being a missionary you were going to join with your husband to do. So that's really cool, and you can see how the confidence is important in a particular thing that is true, that you can expect to happen. So Karen's expecting God to give her the strength she needs so that she could take the step to do the thing he was directing her to do, right? even not knowing what exactly that's going to mean. Right? You go on a missions field, my
Right.
goodness gracious, you can't predict anything exactly what you're going to experience. Right? But you're saying, okay, but God's still going to give me what I need. That's fantastic and a great example of why confidence is so important.
I applaud that. And I love the way you articulated and brought it all back together because, and if we can just continue in that regard, Karen, we're going to use you as our poster child. The opportunity is just to extend just a tad bit further is the misses today in life are because we're not walking in that confidence. I shared the post out a couple of places, and I think Jessica's over on Facebook, and I believe Lisa is as well. I'm not sure, but the opportunity, there's some flow happening there. But I shared it out like this: are you wishing for, or are you walking it out? Are you wishing for confidence? Are you walking it out? Because I believe the piece of why is it important? Because it's going to be a key determination. I don't know what that quote was I said earlier that Karen framed. I have to get that though, because it sounded like something important. Somebody important said that, and I was like, "Whose quote is that?"
Somebody important.
It was right. Confidence, but yet, because it was resonating so in my spirit, man, with how I'm feeling. But just hearing it back again. But where I'm taking it to right now is what in your life, and I'm asking this, I'm putting it out there. Kim, thank you for joining us here on Zoom. We appreciate that. But I want each of us to answer this question, and not for looking back, but to glimpse back so that we can move forward. Because you need to know where you're coming from. What were the opportunities that you have missed because you didn't feel confident? You self-assess yourself. You self-evaluated, and you didn't marry your assessment, didn't marry the calling from your perspective. Does that make sense? You had this vision, or you had this desire, or you had a goal that you wanted to obtain to. And then, it came to your heart. It came to your mind, and you felt it. And there was a level of passion, if it were not for just the onset of having a thought that brought the passion. Or maybe you started to make some treadway in it, and then something happened. What are those things? And the reason I want to capture that, because God's gifts and callings are without repentance. And there may be opportunities where we missed, and God said, I got to go to the next person because this has to happen now. But there also may be some opportunities where he's still yet waiting on you. And he's there with his grace to push you forward.
Yeah, you want each of us to answer that here too, Beth? You looking for that?
No, okay. Maybe it's homework, as Rich likes to say. Maybe it's homework, I don't know. But I really, would you do it? Would you really think about that? And if you have anything that you determine the boundaries now, but if you have anything that you'd like to share, please do that. When this on the Zoom chat or even on Facebook Live, let us hear some of those opportunities, because what I'd like to say, God's favoring you. That his grace is sufficient for you right now.
Yeah, as you were talking, Beth, there's definitely things in my life that I can look back on. And I have to kind of look at it in a couple of different ways, but that scripture I mentioned earlier, Philippians 1, is it 6 or 4?
6, 1, 6.
Right.
One of my
that
favorites.
He began a good work in us and carried on to completion. Like sometimes the opportunities, I tell my clients this, that God's more concerned, I think, about our hearts, right, than our circumstances. Right. And circumstances, even for the opportunities that we could have, right, God's eternal, and our we get to be alive eternally. Sometimes I think we're in a rush to do these things on earth, right? That may or may not be the greatest mission, because God's mission is more about transforming us. I mean, so when you're talking about missed opportunities, there is the legitimate thing. Like, could I have had that happen if I would have had a different perspective and a confidence that was built on something accurate? Absolutely, right? I'm sure I passed by plenty of opportunities, but I think a lot of it was part of what I was talking about earlier, that confidence in what is true versus kind of trying to concoct a confidence, right? Brew it up myself in something, because really I'm avoiding being confident in that thing that is true. Because like you said, Karen, if I'm like, and you didn't necessarily do this, but if I believe I'm really not strong, right? So now I develop a confidence in some other aspect that may not even be accurate to you, right? Like, not that you are a leader, but to say, oh, well, I'm a leader. I mean, well, when realistically God made you second. You're not the primary person. You're the one that makes this stuff happen behind the scenes. But you're trying to gain this sense of being, countering the idea of being weak by being a leader, when now you have to have confidence in something that's not really true about you, and the lost opportunities of being confident that you're the doer, the second person, not the front person, gets lost. There's my lost opportunities in all kinds of different directions. And I've been there, done that, and I'm still learning that there are things that I did that I tried to even sell to other people and to convince myself of, that weren't accurate. And I put myself in circumstances where the lost opportunity was not because I didn't get to do something along that. It was that I didn't embrace this other thing that I could have done. Right. And even convincing myself that it was a God-given direction. I mean, like, how many times we as counselors and other people have heard somebody said, well, God told me. It's kind of the ultimate trump card in a lot of ways. You're going to argue with that. Well, I think God didn't tell you that. I didn't get that memo, right? Well, who are you to say? But sometimes I think we're really, and we're coming up with that phrase or that idea ourselves, and it's not really of God. It's us. And now we're having confidence in something that's not true, trying to make something happen, only to be discouraged because it's not happening, because we're not wired to make that happen as successfully as we may dream it to be, right? Like, I want to be a super business owner and build a massive company, but I'm not wired that way. So I'm going to work to do that, but it never really going to come to fruition. Or if it is, it's going to not really do what I thought it was going to do to build my confidence. Is now I'm having confidence in something that I'm using to build my confidence, which, like, that's getting really convoluted in the process, right? But I mean, I've been there and done that.
Hey, well, some of the, go ahead, Garrett.
No,
Yeah,
I'm just saying I've been there too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think what you're saying brought to mind. I love this discussion. Thank you. And Karen, we're so glad you're here with us.
Thank you. So glad.
This is so much fun. The opportunity, from what I kind of summarize, what Rich was saying, is something that I used to teach on, is inflated versus elevated. So I'm going to have to write this in elevation when I'm writing elevation, because I just thought about it. I hadn't thought about this in years. And you can imagine helium, a balloon, okay? And when it's filled, it's going to elevate, right? But then when you're inflated, you can stick a pin in it and it pops. Okay, so the opportunity here is a lot of people are inflated and the pin pops. But the slightest little pin is going to pop you. But as long as you're elevated and you're continuing to flow higher and higher, you know how the balloons go up into the air and you see them floating across the sky. The opportunity is this. If your confidence, is, what is it, concocted concocted. What was the word you used?
That's what I
You
used,
know,
concocted,
right.
yes.
I saw that inflation happen. I'm inflating myself.
Right.
And because there's no substance there, there's nothing concrete that's going to, in the minute I'm about to pop, and I'm going to deflate. And so the opportunity is that from what Rich is teaching us, you know, there and all of that is that what are you built on? Rich, may I say this statement that you have at the end, or were you saving that?
No,
in
you
your
can
notes?
say it whenever.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. This is so perfect. I said, I thought you were leading to it, but I've
Well,
got
I was going to, but you can lead.
You sure? Okay.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay. So he said,
Not like you own
yes.
the company or anything.
not trademarked yet. You can steal the idea.
Okay, so he has a comment, and he's our leading host today. And his notes he wrote, having confidence is like humility, having an accurate view of who you are. It is not thinking more highly of yourself or too lowly of yourself. And so when he was talking about being second, you know, I'm just so loving that. And I read somebody over on Facebook, I think it was Toby, when I peeked over there, said something about John the Baptist or some sort of comment there. That was so awesome that you stirred that up in her. But that is so unique. When I read that, I thought, oh
That's
my
awesome.
God.
Yeah.
How do you say humility in the same sentence with confidence? You see what I'm saying? God gives the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. See, if we were embrace his ways, you can walk in confidence, strong confidence, but it is required that you're humble, that you're walking in humility, because you understand, I gotta say it, it is he who has made you, who has made us, and not we ourselves. And when we understand that, then the flow happens, that we understand that. Why is it important? Without faith, it's impossible to please him. It's important because the more confidence that I receive through the channel of him, the more opportunities that I get to witness. We want to be confident, like Rich was saying, business owners or this and that. How about being confident and living large for God?
Right.
God, I'm going out here and I'm going to do this thing because it's going to bring you the greatest win from my life. I'm your vessel. Use me. The courage of confidence is that it pleases the Father.
It's real. John the Baptist thing stood out to me in this process we're talking about confidence in things that are true versus, you know, confidence in things that might not be true, or we're not sure that things really going to happen. And it jumped out at me, you know, the story of John the Baptist. He's this confident guy knowing he's going before, carrying the message, right? And he even sees the dove fall on Jesus and all that other great stuff, right? Then he goes in prison,
right?
And now his confidence is challenged. He's gone, hey, are you the right guy, Jesus? Or am I looking for somebody else? Right? Like, whoa, this is a guy for decades, right? Probably, you know, was given the message and confident, and even says, hey, look, there's Jesus. He's the one that's coming and I'm talking about, right? And then he later on goes, are you really the guy I was talking about? Or should I mix that up? It's like, wow, it keep our humanity in check, that we might be confident in something one day and the next day question it.
Right.
And you know what? That's okay. John the Baptist did it.
Right. You believe in it enough to die for it and still have some questions because we're so human. And think of Jesus' answer to him. He didn't say, don't worry, no, cousin, I'm the one. He said, blessed are you if you are not offended by me. In other words, I haven't given you all that you feel you need to be confident in this moment, but you're blessed. I love you. There's an awesome book I use in counseling all the time about that very thing. It's a short and sweet Gene Edwards book called The Prisoner in the Third Cell, talking about that very thing. And as a young widow, I mean, you can imagine, just shattered, wondering if I was going to even breathe enough times to get through the day. Someone handed me the book Good Grief, which I was totally offended by and never have opened to this very day. But someone also handed me, someone I knew and trusted, had confidence in, right? Handed me the book, The Prisoner in the Third Cell. And it just changed the way I healed over the death of my husband, like 180 degrees, right? But the interesting thing too is you're talking about, the dichotomy, confidence versus and humility and various things. Before we even got there, Angela's blown up the Facebook group and saying to her, it's a matter of confidence versus conceit, right? Focus on
Whoa,
me, focus
that's
on God.
good.
She also even said it's a matter of walking with God versus walking alone. And then even before that, she gave a testimony. I used to walk in self-confidence. I was arrogant and a little stuck up, unapproachable. When I started to walk in the confidence of Christ, I had a special glow that radiated, unexplainable. I let everyone know that is God. I love that.
I love that. We have some great flow happening over there. That's really, really good. The thing that I wanted to highlight, I'm just all in Rich's notes here, and I've got to talk about Hebrews 10:35, and I've got to expound upon the relationship with Jesus and John the Baptist, because I feel in my spirit somebody's out there thinking, oh, I lost it, I missed it, and I can't get it back, or I'm totally out of the game now. No, because I want to even tell you, after having done great things, Elijah, what happened when he met up with Jezebel, okay? And so the opportunity is, he was like hiding, what are you doing here, Elijah? Don't you know who you are? We all have opportunities where we've experienced some great wins, but the key that I want to pull from Rich's notes is this, and he's got a couple of translations related to it, and it's Hebrews 10:35. It says, so do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. Now that's the NIV version, but try this one out, New Living. It says, so do not throw away this confident trust in the Lord. Remember the great reward that it brings you. And so what I want to say from my standpoint is this, that helps me a lot, because I know a lot of people look at me and say, Beth just walks in confidence and competence. And this is a process to get there. And I'm going to tell you, you can too, because at the end of the day, I remember, and I cited it yesterday, Joyce Meyer heard it first. I don't know if she coined the phrase. One of the things that interrupts our confidence is fear. And she said to me, and I'm saying I was in an audience of so many hundreds of people at that time. She wasn't doing the thousands and thousands at that time. This was years ago. I'm dating myself. It's right here in Shallowford Road in a hotel that has since not that big of a deal now, but I saw Joyce Meyer there and was talking to her, okay? And she said, feel the fear, but do it anyway. That thing had a lasting effect on me. And so now what I've married that to is, and she wrote a little book pamphlet, Do It Afraid. And it's like $10 or something. I used to sell them, just give them out to people. Do it afraid. But this is what I get from what Rich is saying. Marrying it to fear the fear, but do it anyway. Is I tell people this all the time, and I want you to get this today. God's counting on you. God's counting on you. He chose you. Isaiah was in the room. He was in the presence of God, and he heard God. God didn't say, Isaiah, you go out there and you do this. He said, who shall we send? And he responded in the confidence of, here I am, Lord, send me. And what I'm saying, there's great reward when we respond, knowing that it is God that will take us through. If he called you to it, he's going to take you through it. How about that? How do we do today? Are we good?
I think so.
We're blown.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys, listen. we just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Kim, you're here with us. We so appreciate that. Yay. And any of you on Facebook Live that wants to join live with us and engage more intimately in the conversation on next week, we would love to have you. I'm going to allow Karen, I believe, to tell us what our topic is for next week. And then I'm just going to do some homework and some housekeeping rather, and close us out. How about that? Rich, you're good?
Good.
Any lasting statement that you want to make after Karen do so? And then I'll close this out. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been great. My face kind of hurts from smiling. We're going to talk next week about how to cultivate, build, gain strength, and sustain it. I love that. That was not my word. That was theirs. Sustain confidence, specifically in your life and as you go through trials, which we all do. And then we're going to continue with that after about specifically how do you gain and sustain confidence in your work, in your service to the Lord as well. And then of course, Beth's going to do the Godfidence thing, which I had the privilege of hearing her do before. So we're looking really forward to that. And then we're going to have her do it again. If you don't get enough of Godfidence, we're going to have her do it again. Is it in April? She's going to do a 2-parter in April. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm looking forward to what you have to say next week, Karen, because you piqued my interest saying you're a young widow. I'm like,
oh,
whoa, okay, that ought to be interesting. The confidence, I'm imagining with your first husband in the missions field and he passed. And
right. I hadn't thought of that, but maybe we'll see if the Lord brings some of that into the
piqued my
Karen
interest of confidence, addressing your dad, going in the mission field. God's going to give you what you want, and then you lose your husband. Like,
right.
That's not on the script that I would write.
Listen, this may be our case study. Karen, thank you. Oh my God. I knew you would add value to what we're doing here. And we so appreciate it. This will be a first of other opportunities. Kim has stated here so good. Thank you all. Thank you, Kim. We really appreciate it. And I want to say personally, as I wrap today, and I'm going to talk about a couple of assignments, but before I get into that, things that are upcoming that you can participate in, I really want to thank each and every one of you for an outpouring of love towards my mother-in-law. It's been, we lost her on Friday night. And the opportunity is that, of course, we're grieving. She was just such a beautiful person, 96 years old, doing puzzles, word puzzles, and reading her Bible just 2 weeks prior to her death, and really slipped away through, just sleeping a lot. And there she was gone. And it was a smooth transition for her, so wasn't very painful. We appreciate that. And she was tired, probably. She had to slip away, because if we had any inclination, we'd have been praying and fasting and all of this stuff to keep her here. But she was just a beautiful person. My husband, y'all keep him in prayer. He's just, he's good because he was good to his mom. All of them were. And I had a unique mother-in-love, I always say, and daughter-in-law relationship. So the kids, Jessica and Romy and Bianca and all of her grandkids. So y'all keep them in prayer for us. Okay, so in closing today, I want to tell you guys, I hope it's today. And I know Lisa's like, Miss Beth, can I let it go? I promise you, one way or the other, today, I've got to pick, Jessica's coming in from the airport, so I'm going to pick her up. But we've got one little thing that I've got to do to make the God Golfing Girls 2022 announcement. I mean, we can't wait to share it with you. And I believe today's the day. And I mean, y'all know Lisa Booth. She's just fancy Nancy with all the graphics and everything. And it is outstanding. It is just totally outstanding how we're going to make this announcement today. So they're waiting on me. So y'all pray me a little bandwidth before I have to leave in an hour to make this happen. Okay. Next week. Well, before we get to next week, this Friday on Small Business Friday Noon Nugget, we have Vanessa Griffin, Please turn in. She says it's a process. So get the new nugget in the Facebook Live group. And then next week, y'all, please come on Zoom. Please come on Zoom next week for Take Charge Tuesday with Erica Jackson, CYE Inc. It is going to be amazing as we continue our discussion on elevation. And then Karen's already told you what you can expect here. So we're looking forward to welcoming you back. We pray you an awesome weekend and rest of the week. Thank you so much for joining us on Wellness Wednesday at Georgia Christian Business Network. Visit our website, gcbnetwork.com. Join us, become a member, become a sponsor. We need your help to put God back in business. Bye, friends. See you, Karen. Bye, Rich.
Thank you.
Bye now. Take care. Bye.